tell movie, but lovers make me sad. I've got everything but nothing without you. I've got mountains, I got rivers, got a chandelier of stars. I've got blossoms on the bloodwoods, got friends all around the country, and a heart as good as new. I've got everything but nothing without you. When this life that binds me turns me loose, lets me rest on my laurels, will you put your head on my shoulder and share the peaceful years? I've got everything but nothing without you. I've got mountains, I've got rivers, got a chandelier of stars, got blossoms on the bloodwoods, friends all around the country, and a heart as good as new. I've got everything but nothing without you. I've got mountains, I got rivers, got a chandelier of stars, got blossoms on the bloodwoods, friends all around the country, and a heart as good as new. I've got everything but nothing without you. I've got everything but nothing without you.
We've done us proud to come this far, down through the years to where we are, side by side, hand in hand. We've lived and died for this great land. We've done us proud. I sailed the sea in search of freedom. I tilled the soil for seed to grow. I built the fences to hold the cattle. I mined the earth in search of gold. I sheared the sheep of golden fleeces. I formed a union to win fair pay. I built a railroad to cross the country. I fought a war for my country's sake. We've done us proud to come this far, down through the years to where we are, side by side, hand in hand. We've lived and died for this great land. We've done us proud. I kept a home and raised a family. I taught your children as if my own. I painted pictures to show the beauty. I wrote the stories to keep play. We've done us proud to come this far, down through the years to where we are, side by side, hand in hand. We've lived and died for this great land.
Good old Collingwood forever. They know how to play the game. Side by side we stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barrackers are shouting, as all barrackers should. All the premierships are cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand?
Good old Collingwood forever. They know how to play the game. Side by side we stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barrackers are shouting, as all barrackers should. All the premierships are cakewalk for the good old Collingwood. Good old Collingwood forever. They know how to play the game. Side by side we stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barrackers are shouting, as all barrackers should. All the premierships are cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
A rough and ready sort of bloke. Peter is his name. He liked to drink and to socialise, and he always seemed the same. Never in a striped suit or tie, formal clothes he rarely wears. Not many airs and graces about Peter. He's the larrikin who swears. But we respect him for who he is, a good, down-to-earth bloke. To him, laughter comes easily, and he loves a bloody good joke. He's a little bit rough around the edges, but his heart's in the right place. And as carefree as a sunny summer's day, a big smile on his face. A character in his own right, as everyone would know. Peter would greet you in the street with a smile and a big hello. We are here today to remember, to pay our respects, and to celebrate the life of Peter Symes, a husband, a dad, a father-in-law, a grandfather and a great-grandfather, a brother and a mate. We will all miss him dearly, but his memory will live on in the hearts of those who loved him. My name is Simon, and along with each of the staff here at Parkside, it has been our privilege to have been invited to care for, once again, another member of the extended Symes family, and to hold Peter's service of farewell here, and to assist and to support his family, Kathleen, Alison, Craig, Jacqueline, Pauline, Melissa, their partners and their extended families as they begin to say their goodbyes. There are undoubtedly some people who unfortunately cannot join with us today for varying reasons. And so I'd like to mention that we're thinking of them, as I'm sure they're taking a few moments out of their afternoon to remember Peter, thinking of all of us here at this time. For those of you who are watching this service via live stream, or perhaps watching it at a later time, I welcome you also Your presence is equally important if you are here in person or here in spirit. Before we move too far into our service this afternoon, I'd like to take the opportunity to ask, if you have your mobile phone on you, you might take a moment to turn it off or onto silent as your mark of respect to Peter. After our service here in the chapel, you're all warmly invited to join with the family at a place that was very special to Peter, the Wynyard Football Club rooms in Austin Street, for a time of refreshment and a time maybe to share your own memories and your own stories of Peter with the family and with each other. And so today, just as we would meet to say goodbye to anyone who we love who is leaving on any journey, we are meeting today to say some of our goodbyes to Peter. We're sending him off today with our love, maybe with a few tears, but hopefully a few laughs along the way. But also sending him off with our blessing, most of all with our gratitude. His influence on the people closest to him has been profound. That influence does not end with his death, but continues on into the future. In our time here this afternoon in the chapel, we will hear about the essence of Peter, who he was, a little bit of the story of his life. We will share some memories and some photos, and we'll listen to music that Peter himself chose and that he loved to listen to. We are reminded today that our lives are all connected in many ways from birth until death. Our lives are composed of significant experiences of love and of friendship with Peter and with each other. That so many people have joined with us today is a mark of the influence and the respect that he held within his family, within his circle of friends, and within his community. And finally, we will say a public goodbye to Peter's physical presence in our lives. This doesn't mean that we forget who he was, for who could ever forget a man like Peter Symes? And so today we talk about him because we're proud. We talk about him because he deserves to be remembered. We talk about him because even though he is now not with us, he is never far from our mind. We talk about him because he is a part of us, a part that we could never ignore or disown. We talk about him because we love him still, and we always will, forever. Nothing will ever change that. And so I'll share with you a little bit of what I learnt about Peter Symes, mostly from Kathleen and his family. And they've written, Peter James Robert Symes was born in Wynyard on the 9th of July 1941. He was one of 7 children, the eldest son of Margaret and Arnold Symes, and his siblings were Arnie, Jeff, Tony, Colin, Ruth and Margie. It was a big family, and during and just after the Second World War, life was tough. And I'm sure those years, those tough years, shaped Peter as it did for many of his generation. Money was tight, and you looked after everything you had. Peter left school and started his working life. He worked on a baker's run with Jack Bramich, and then delivering papers for a couple of years on his trusty push bike. He later moved on to sawmilling for the APPM. In 1971, Peter met Kathleen at the Milo Tin, which is now the Bottom Pub at Wynyard, and they were dancing in the barn dance. On one lap around, Peter asked Kathleen if he could take her home, to which she replied, "I don't know," before Peter moved on again. On the next lap around, Peter asked again, "Have you thought about me taking you home?" And Kathleen replied, "No thanks, I have my own car, thank you." A month or two later, Kathleen was talking about Peter to her Auntie Betty, who said, "Go out with him, Kath." And so she did. They started dating from then on, and in June 1972, they were married in Wynyard. Peter brought a daughter Alison into their little family, and Alison was soon joined by Craig in 1973, Jacqueline in 1974, and finally Pauline finishing their brood in 1976. As you will all already know, Peter was sports mad. He was working on the West Coast, and so he played with Rosebery in 1960 and 1961, and he left there an undefeated premiership winner for those years. Upon his return to Wynyard, he played football with Wynyard until 1966, until a foot injury forced his retirement. After retiring from playing, Peter still loved his footy and wanting to be a part of the game, so he took up umpiring. Peter was a goal, a boundary and a central umpire, and received a 20-year badge for all of his dedication and efforts. After this, Peter took up training with the Wynyard Football Club, and he stuck at training for some 40-odd years. Wynyard Football Club posted this tribute to Facebook earlier this week, and they wrote, "It is with deep sadness that we acknowledge the passing of our beloved life member, Mr. Peter Symes. Peter's extraordinary service to the Wynyard Football Club spans a lifetime, marked by unwavering loyalty and dedication through both the highs and the lows of our journey. His steadfast commitment, particularly in his role as a trainer for the junior and senior football, become a cornerstone of our club's success and resilience over many decades. Peter was often seen as one of the last to leave the change rooms after a day's play, tidying the mess that comes with winter sport. Further follow-up took place on a Sunday to ensure the rooms were spotless for a week of training on the track. In 2006, Peter was rightfully recognised with a life membership at our club, a fitting testament to his tireless efforts and profound impact. In 2015, his exceptional contributions to the sport were further celebrated when he was awarded the NWFL Patron Service to Football Award. Peter's legacy is etched into the fabric of our club, not only in his contributions on the field, but in the values of loyalty, of service, of perseverance and community that he exemplified. We extend our heartfelt condolences to Kath and the entire Symes family, both immediate and extended, as well as his many relationships formed throughout the community. Peter's memory will forever remain an integral part of the Wynyard Football Club through his loyal service. Rest in peace, Pete. As the Wynyard Football Club mentioned, Pete was awarded the Patron Service Award for the NWFL in 2015. As Pete loved sports, he took up bowls in 1979 and was still playing regularly up until 2023. And even when his health started to decline, forcing him to give up bowls. Pete was awarded a life membership of the Wynyard Bowls Club also. He won triples with Paul Hampton, and he won many championships at his beloved bowls. Pete loved volunteering for bowls on a Saturday morning. He loved the banter that he shared with the big man, Doc Hancock, who always gave him a bit of cheek about his push bike. He also loved playing indoor bowls at the RSL club for some 35 years. Peter was a runner. He loved cross-country running, and he earned himself a third place in the Wynyard to Burnie. He also won the 1978 PCCC 10-kilometre handicap race at Aldina and the Big Six handicap race in Burnie in 1981. Another 10k handicap race in Aldina in 1984. You may see today there are a couple of sashes on his coffin that he won. Peter helped with the under-17s running with Carl Gaby and Kevin Cooper and John French. He played 20-odd games of cricket with the Wynyard Cricket Club, and he won a B-grade final with the Railway Cricket Club. Pete won the Cole Smart Shield with his bowling average. I'm sure there are many, many more sporting accolades that we could share today, and these really are just a scratch on the surface. As you would have heard as we came in, Pete loved his beloved Collingwood Magpies, and he followed them keenly, and with, I'm sure, just a little bit of coaching and umpiring from his lounge room chair. He also loved a bit of a punt on the horses on a Saturday morning, often sending Kathleen off with his bets to place for him, or off on his trusty push bike himself. As time went on for Peter and Kathleen, they started to have a family of their own, and their children went on to meet and marry their own partners and start their own families. Peter has never been more proud than when he became a pop to his 14 grandchildren, Mitchell, Caleb, Chanel, Declan, Zeke, Kirby Amber, Braden, Cohen, Jiren, Tani J, Brittany, Caitlin, Michael and Ryan. They were all special to him. And as his grandchildren grew older and they started their own families and the great-grandchildren started to arrive, Cyrus and Bronson and Danae May, and he became a special pop lolly of Landon, of Memphis and Archie. A little reading I found, I think, describes the sort of dad and pop that Peter was, and it says, "He never looks for praises and he's never one to boast. He just goes on quietly working for those he loves the most. His dreams are seldom spoken and his wants are very few, and most of the time his worries, they go unspoken too. He's there, a firm foundation through all the storms of life, a sturdy hand to hold to in times of stress and strife, a true friend that we can turn to when times are good or bad, one of the greatest blessings, that man we call our dad." I've got a couple of tributes from the grandchildren, and firstly I would like to invite Caleb to come forward and to share his with us.
So, my earliest memories of Pop was always going to the footy club to help him clean up. And if I did a good enough job, he'd try and give me $10 every time. And he ended up growling me every time for picking up the football and I'd kick it at the wall. And I'll just always remember him growling me every time. When I lived with Nan and Pop, he'd always crack down on me for like my swearing, because apparently I have problems with doing that. He'd always say when I go out for a cigarette, he'd be like, "You really need to give that up, because it'll kill you one day." And then Pop got me a job as a water boy at the footy club, because I was always there with him. And he'd always make sure that Nan had lunch packed for like me and Mitchell when we were out doing it. And then after we're done there, we'd either clean the footy club or we'd go to the bowls club and clean that up or go in the garden. Every Christmas Eve, we'd have the barbecue at Nan and Pop's. Pop would always come up to me and be like, "You're going to cook today, you're the chef." And I'd be like, "Nah, I'm not on the job." And then when I last saw Pop, he just said to me not to be like him and to do a bit better. And I will try and do that for you, Pop.
Well done, mate. Alison has written a little tribute that says, "To my loving dad, safe in the arms of Jesus, you are now at peace. Love always, Alison and Jeff." And Mitchell has asked me to read on his behalf his tribute, and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, today I want to take a moment to honour a truly remarkable man, my beloved Pop, Lolly. To me, he was more than just a grandfather. He was my idol, my mentor, and my greatest supporter. Growing up, some of my fondest memories are of our adventures at the Wynyard Football Club. Pop would take me there with a spark in his eye, ready to cheer on the team. Those days were filled with laughter and excitement, but what I cherished most were the moments in between, the lessons that he imparted and the love that he shared. Pop taught me so much, not just about football, but about life itself. He introduced me to the wonders of gardening, showing me how to nurture plants and appreciate the beauty of nature. He instilled into me the importance of family, reminding me that we are always stronger together. His wisdom shaped me into the person that I am today. And of course, how could I forget our little secrets? Pop had a mischievous side. I can still hear his voice whispering, "Don't tell Nan Lolly," as he snuck a cigarette. Those moments made me feel like we were in on something special together, a bond that was uniquely ours. But perhaps one of my favourite memories is when Pop would lock the moon under the house for me when I was younger. I used to be scared of the moon, and it was his way of ensuring that I felt safe and loved, and it filled my childhood with warmth, knowing that Pop would keep me safe. Pop Lolly was not just a figure in my life, he was the heart of our family. His laughter and love created a warmth that enveloped us all. He showed me how to embrace life with joy and to always cherish those we hold dear. As we remember him today, let's carry forward his legacy. Let's laugh, love and support one another, just as Pop did for all of us. Though he may no longer be with us in body, his spirit will forever live in our hearts and the memories that we share. So here's to my Pop Lolly, my idol, my teacher and my friend. Thank you for everything. I love you, Pop. See you in the soup. Pete got the name Pop Lolly from Landon. Peter always had a lolly jar on the wall unit, and Landon was able to have a lolly every time he came to visit. He could have one lolly for every year old he was, and so now he gets 4 lollies because he's 4 years old. Landon would always arrive with hugs and kisses and high five and love yous all around, and the same when he left. Always leaving with a "don't forget the carrot." Pop loved that he was his special little mate. A few other little stories that the family have asked me to share, and Mitchell's just given himself away because he wasn't named in this story, but it says one time our eldest grandson, no name mentioned, was staying with Nan and Pop told him to go to bed. But he replied, "But Pop, not until you or Nan put the moon under the house." So Nan did that and off to bed he went. "Thanks, Nan," was his reply. He's never lived that one down. Another time one of the grandchildren asked, "Pop, why have you only got 3 fingers and a thumb on one hand and 2 fingers and a thumb on the other?" And Nan piped up and said, "That's what happens when you tell a lie. The rats eat them off one by one. So don't tell porkies or it'll happen to you." We think he still believes that story. In years gone by, Peter loved a bit of a drink, and one night Kathleen remembers that Peter went out with Rob Wise and a couple of the blokes from the Wynyard Mill. It was a fairly cold and frosty night, and when they brought Pete home, they dumped him legless on the lawn. Kathleen tried to get him up and inside, but she couldn't, so she left him out overnight. The next morning, Pete comes in, snow white, blue lips, teeth chattering. "Why didn't you bring me inside?" he said. "I couldn't, you were too drunk." Another night, when Pete arrived home on his push bike, which everyone will know he rode everywhere, Peter staggered in late and said, "I'm home, dear, what's for tea?" Kathleen replied, "Drunk again." When she looked up, there he was, covered in blood. "What have you done to yourself?" His reply, "I missed the side track down by the river and I went over the handlebars." "Where's your bike, Pete?" "Don't worry about that," he replied, "we'll pick it up in the morning." And so the next morning they found the bike, handlebars, wheels and pedals all buckled. He later found out that he'd not only broken the bike, but he'd done 4 ribs in the process. It was about 14 months ago that Peter's brother Arnie passed away, and at his funeral, Peter stood up off his walker and his trousers ended up down around his ankles. Kathleen had to make a fairly quick dive to retrieve them for him. As most of you will know, Peter's health has been in decline over the last few years. He was diagnosed with lung cancer in 2019 and had half a lung removed. Finding out a little bit after that the cancer was back and affecting his other lung, his chest, ribs and spine. He also developed Parkinson's disease, which meant giving up his beloved push bike, and it made walking hard for Pete. And so after a few falls, Pete was admitted into the Burnie Hospital and then moved briefly into Yamina Park in Burnie for the extra care that he now needed. Peter passed away peacefully on Saturday, the 4th of January 2025. He was surrounded by the love and the support of his family. Peter, know that you have been loved and you will always be remembered. May you forever rest in peace. What awesome memories we all have of Peter, and what fun and laughter he brought into our lives. I thank you all for sharing your memories and your thoughts with us today. Pete, your life was a colourful life. Your life was lived with your love of sports, your mindfulness of others, your generosity, your quiet and unassuming nature, and pride, so much pride in your family.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the flowers are dying. 'Tis you must go and I must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. 'Tis I'll be here in sunshine or in shine. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so. And if you come when all the flowers are dying, if I am dead, as dead I well may be, you'll come and find the place where I am lying. You'll lean and say, Anna, there for me, and I shall hear though soft you tread above me, and o'er my then you will kneel and whisper that you love me, and I shall sleep in peace until you come to me.
I'll take you home again, Kathleen, across the ocean wild and wide, to where your heart has ever been. Since first you were my bonny bride, the roses all have left your cheeks. I've watched them fade away and die. Your voice is sad whene'er you speak, and tears bedim your loving eyes. Oh, I will take you back, Kathleen, to where your heart will feel no pain. And when the fields are fresh and green, I will take you to your home, Kathleen. I know you love me, Kathleen dear. Your heart was ever fond and true. I always feel when you are near that life holds nothing dear but you. The smiles that once you gave to me, I scarcely ever see them now, though many, many times I see a darkening shadow on your brow. Oh, I will take you back, Kathleen, to where your heart will feel no pain. And when the fields are fresh and green, I will take you to your home, Kathleen.
And so we begin to close this chapter of Peter's life. He now moves into that part of our lives that we call the past. Life will be very different without him, but his influence will live on. You will love and you will remember him for the rest of your lives. As we begin to recognise that we have done all that we can for Pete, a much-loved husband, a father, a pop, a brother and a friend, and that we release him into our memories and we prepare to say our most final of goodbyes to him. Kathleen has asked me to thank, on behalf of the family, the staff from the Northwest Regional Hospital Burnie and also from Yamina Park for their dedicated care of Peter. To her carer, Kylie, who worked before he went into hospital in Yamina, for all of your help and your assistance. To the members of the Wynyard Football Club for their support, and for all the tributes that have been posted onto Facebook over the last week or so. The family have been blown away with just how many lives Peter has touched. And so as the family come forward in the next few moments and place a flower upon Peter's coffin, I would invite you to all reflect on your own memories of Pete and the relationships that you have shared with him.
When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burden be, and I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can't stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. Strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders.
What we're essentially doing today is the putting away of Peter's body. We deeply love and respect his body. It's carried around his spirit, his personality, his himself for his 83 years. But for now, the thing that drove those eyes and the thing that gave us his smile, the laugh that we will never forget, the thing that made Peter's body run and ride his bike and play football and cricket and darts and bowls, the thing that knew us and let us know him his spirit, is gone. But that thing will never be completely lost to us, because we all now have a bit of it stuck inside of us. And we will have too, until one day we find ourselves in a place like this, with somebody like me, clumsily reading words over our own coffins. But until then, we will not forget Peter. We'll always think a bit like him. We'll act a bit like him. We'll laugh at the same things that he laughed at. And we'll probably cry a bit from time to time because of him. Peter will visit us in our dreams, and we'll think we overheard his voice in a crowd, and tears will form. But so will a smile, because we'll smile the smile of somebody who has had the honour of knowing Peter Symes. But for now, Peter remains locked up inside of you, warm in your hearts, safe in your love. Let him rest there. Let him ride with you. Take Peter away with you today and remember what moved you about him. Be stronger for him. Be better. Be kinder. And so, Peter, we say goodbye to your physical presence amongst us, and we must commit you now. We commit you to our hearts, to our minds, and to our memories. We commit to the telling of your stories so that others will know you, and we commit to loving you from now until eternity, and we commit to supporting each other through our loss of you. And finally, gently and tenderly, we commit Peter James Robert Symes for cremation, eventually to return to the earth from which all life came, and to which, in the end, all life will return, earth to earth, ashes to ashes, and dust to dust. And to close, some words I found that I think may come to us today from Pete himself. It says, I leave myself to your memory with love. To you I leave my thoughts, my laughter, my smile, and my dreams. The memories of our times together, the tender moments, the successes that we shared, the hard times, the fun times, and the times that brought us closer together, and the roads that I've walked side by side with many of you. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to remind you of the invitation to join Peter's family at the Wynyard Football Club and to continue remembering and celebrating his life with them. That concludes our service here in the chapel, and so I would invite you all to please stand.
Good old Collingwood forever. They know how to play the game. Side by side we stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barrackers are shouting as all barrackers should. All the premierships are cakewalk for the good old Collingwood. Good old Collingwood forever. They know how to play the game. Side by side we stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barrackers are shouting as all barrackers should. All the premierships are cake.